Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Clueless Capitalist, where we help you discover startups, interview founders, and help you become less clueless with angel investing. My name is Razi.
And I'm Osman, and welcome to The Clueless Capitalist.
In this episode, we have Fuchsia. Fuchsia is an artisanal footwear brand based in Seattle, bringing South Asian flats to the US market. We have the founder and CEO of Fuchsia, Afshan, joining us for this episode. Hello, Afshan, and welcome to the episode.
Thank you for having me over, Razi.
So before you share the pitch deck, maybe you could tell us a little bit more about how you got started with Fuchsia.
So I'm a software engineer by training, and I had been working in corporate America for 6 years before I went ahead and started a footwear brand. Obviously, it's safe to say that I did not dream to one day start a footwear company, but it was sort of a byproduct of this problem that I initially experienced of not being able to find a unique pair of shoes that was only made for me, and buying from a responsible company that I could wear, without killing my feet and my paycheck. So price, comfort, how they were made were really important to me. And when I started the hunt of finding that footwear brand, I just was surprised that given such a big industry it is, there were not a lot of options in the market. So before starting Fuchsia, I was working with that's how I started my career. So I went to school in Karachi, did my undergrad there. Within a year, I got hired by Microsoft, so that I ended up relocating to Redmond in the Washington state here. So I spent 6 years working for one of the finance teams at Microsoft, where I was working with financial analysts and statistics folks and data science teams. And I was their go-to person who was bringing all information data that they would take to make their day-to-day business decisions. We were dealing with the Windows business. So, it was a huge business that, so the team that I was part of was doing a lot of forecasting. So they were pretty much predicting the future. So that initiated a lot of interest in data analysis. And so that sort of become my area of interest. Spent 6 years at Microsoft, and then I moved to another startup, which was also a spin-off of a Microsoft exec here in Kirkland. It was called Inrix. They were mining all of this traffic data and using it as, providing it to GPS devices in the cars. And over there, I was given in charge of building their data analytics team. So I grew that team I was the first hire, and from there I grew that team to a team of 5 people. And this was my 13th month, so it had been slightly over a year. I was having my performance review discussion. I was in the room, having this meeting with our manager, and who was apparently going to announce my promotion the week after, and he was having this. So before he did that, I was having this career discussion with him, and I told him that, I've been working on this idea. I had been sitting on this idea for a while, but I couldn't really take it too far because, with a full-time job, which is very demanding, obviously, you need a lot of time and energy and effort. And I just couldn't give it to that. So, I wanted to get it. To be honest with you, I did not know how to make shoes or anything about the shoe industry at that point. This is 2016. So I know I'm starting from scratch. I'm starting from the basic. I have to learn a lot. And, I have to just give my 200% to this project. So I told him that, I need to go and try this out, see where I can take this project and make something out of it. And that's how it all started. And now we are here currently at 1 million ARR and growing. More than 30,000 customers all over the US have bought shoes from us. Hopefully I'll tell you more in my pitch deck.
All right then.
Once again, thank you for having me over. We are Fuchsia, the unassuming artisanal flats that have taken the world by storm. We are a Seattle-based direct-to-consumer shoe brand on a mission to elevate the value of artisan craft. starting with the feet of a dozen women that were my co-workers at Microsoft headquarters and reaching more than 30,000 customers to date all over the US. We're currently at 1 million run rate. So how did this simple artisanal flat from South Asia went over the feet of thousands of American women? It all started with a trip to my hometown in Pakistan. I brought dozens of colorful sandals from a farmer's market and brought them back for my coworkers in Seattle. Everyone loved them to bits and wanted some more, but I had nowhere to point them. Personally, I have never been a fan of same-looking boring flats some of our favorite brands make. It was very difficult to find a unique and comfortable pair that is only made for me, even when coming from some of the luxury brands with a higher price tag. Now, I didn't grow up to one day start a footwear company, but I had this personal problem that I sit out and try to find a solution. Turns out I was not alone. More than 70% of women in the US wear flat shoes to work, but majority still struggle finding a good-looking, comfortable pair for all-day wear. Sales of high heels and dress shoes have been plummeting for years, and COVID-19, if anything, has accelerated that. Lately, it's all about comfort. Slipper shoes have record high sales. Consumers today, they demand comfort, sustainability, and a unique style. The combination not exactly being served by traditional shoe brands in this space. So going back in 2016, I quit my tech job at Microsoft and went out on developing my idea for a unique footwear. Went back to Pakistan, the country known to be the 7th largest producer of footwear exporter in the world, and its rich cultural heritage. Found this group of multi-generational craftspeople in a small town in Pakistan. It is known as the hub of cottage industry. So they were making shoes locally known as kusas. These artisans would often struggle in the local markets. Now, their goods were extremely undervalued, nor they had access to the international markets. So with the help of this exact group that you see in the picture in the Sangla Hills, I developed some initial prototypes. We basically took the whole shoe apart, how it was being locally made, developed a proprietary construction such that each pair is designed for, number one, comfort, and number two, function. So I developed these initial samples, returned back to Seattle, and launched a campaign on Kickstarter. The campaign took off, and within 30 days, we got 700 backers from all over the world. We had to stop the campaign because we did not have enough material. We celebrated for a split second, but then I realized I needed a Pakistan-based partner with experience of establishing supply chains and making shoes. So that's when I met Umar, Fuchsia's current regional manager of production. So Umar is a fresh MBA graduate, lived near the first artisan workshop where we started sourcing our shoes. Over a cup of chai, we had a discussion about purpose, and that's when Fuchsia was born. Now, right off the gate, Fuchsia got glowing reviews. We had many customers who have purchased multiple pairs from us, and this is like in the beginning. They loved the unique finish to the product. They couldn't find anywhere else. Obviously, I was not surprised, and they were proud to stand by our brand's mission. In the US, this is a huge market opportunity. Women's non-athletic shoes, and I'm not talking about the Nikes and Adidas of the world. This is non-athletic footwear. Just women is a $33.9 billion business annually. And sustainability is the only trend that is driving innovation and growth in this market right now. Especially now, the world of retail is changing. There's a consumer shift away from large brands, consumer shift to sustainable products. So if you think handmade means woolly jumpers, craft fairs, and Etsy, think again. The creative handmade manufacturing is a $500 billion market globally, projecting to grow to $1 trillion by 2024. Fuchsia's innovation in the creative handmade manufacturing is what we called creative batching. Every day, hundreds of Fuchsia shoes are cut, shaped, and perfected by the skilled hands of our artisans, not one by one, but in small batches. And that's exactly what gives Fuchsia its cutting edge. Now, with this method, a group of 17 artisans can make as much as 24,000 pairs in a year. That is as much as a mid-sized commercial footwear factory would produce. Creative batching enables us to scale. Who says handmade can't scale? Our sizing artisan, Ashik Ali, will disagree, who, by the way, is in the picture right now. Creative handmade batching is agile, unique, and flexible. It helps mitigating losses, shorter production cycles, and enables elastic workforce as compared to larger scale factory production. This is our asset. Being handmade just not only makes us unique, but it also adds passion and expertise to our finished products. We have brought work back to skilled artisans of a dying art in Pakistan. More than 70 artisans are in our supply chain. They earn sustainable, livable income through their craft. And some of these artisans are doing this by working from homes. We have a lot of handmade embroidery that we put on top of our uppers. They're made by women artisans working from their homes remotely. It helps them and their families. So we have affected more than 500 family members indirectly. We are a diverse, purpose-driven team of exceptional individuals who share a passion for seeing the handmade sector gets its due. We are split across US and Pakistan, and we hail from some of the top companies in retail and tech. I have around 11 team members, combination of full-time, part-time, and contractors right now, both split across US and Pakistan. We're not going to stop here. Our success in the footwear market is just a foot in the door. As we add some more shoe categories, we want to onboard a diverse set of artisanal products made by different groups all over the world. I already talked about how big this handmade market is and how fast it is growing. To propel our growth, we are raising $1 million right now at a valuation of $6 million cap. Our round is 40% complete, and I am looking to complete the remainder of the round. Our scale plan is to scale vertically in the shoes category and horizontally by adding more diversional products. But with this funding, the plan is only to scale vertically within the shoes because, the shoe industry is so big. We have a very good product that is resonating really well with our target audience. We have an amazing number of people who are coming back for more. More than 30% people have come back to buy a second pair of shoes or more from us. So we want to scale that in 2023 to 24,000 pair production next year, and the following year to 50,000 pair production. Most of this capital will be spent on scaling our marketing efforts, building an in-house marketing team. Storytelling and content production is big for us, and we are really focused on creating a very highly engaged community of customers. That has been a key to our success so far. And we want to continue doing that and focus on we want to have as many people as we can have Fuchsia shoes on their feet, and then really focus on, average order value, some of the key metrics that are really important to continue growing effectively and economically. In the end, I would say, why does the earth need another shoe? Because fast fashion is out. It cannot be sustained by our planet. I think the most important thing is today, the consumers do not just care about a great shoe, but on what footprint it leaves behind. So with Fuchsia, we tread lightly and make it beautiful. Now with Fuchsia, every step you take helps the world. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Afshan. Quite amazing the work that you're doing and the impact that you're creating. So after our conversation, I've been looking at some of these footwear brands, right? These sustainable footwear brands. And what they've achieved is quite remarkable, I would say. So I was looking, I think you shared with me about a brand called Rothy's. And
yes.
For everyone watching, Rothy's is a recycled plastic footwear brand. And they've gone from starting in 2016 to now being $1 billion footwear brand. And then I encountered another one called Allbirds. And Allbirds also is a sustainable footwear brand. They started with one product called the Wool Runners. And yes. Now they are $1 billion shoe company, and they've been listed. They started just 8 years ago, and now they're listed in the US. So it's quite impressive and quite remarkable to see that there's this greater awareness for sustainability in footwear, and consumers are truly embracing it in the US. So where do you see Fuchsia going in the next few years in the market, looking at the success of other sustainable footwear brands?
Where I see this going in the next 3 years, I think the market that we are really hitting on right now, and with sustainability, this business has a potential to be $100 million company as quickly as in next 3 to 4 years. This is where I want to take it. Now, how is that going to happen? Is we started with a women's product naturally because, that was just a personal problem that was tied to me. But then I learned so many interesting and fascinating things about the women shopping behavior, right? Like apparently an American woman on average owns 27 pairs of shoes at any given time. And majority of that collection owns, they have to have pair of flats. Now, why do we wear flats? Because, when we are going to work, we want to heels and, the fancy footwear is great, but we need something that is casual, but not casual enough that something that we can also doesn't compromise on the style. So flats is a great example as a category. So more than 30% of people who have bought shoes from us have come back for second or more pairs. And then we have this small group of fan base, and I kid you not, have purchased 17, 18, 19, 20 pairs from us. That's a loyal customer base, right? And given the fact that we are only doing one type of a shoe, it's just one category. So every color, every different style we have launched it, those customers have purchased that shoe. For us, I think the next 2 years, we really want to remain focused on this product, get our supply chain really, really tight, our quality really intact as we are scaling the production. We have a lot of people, the brands you named, a lot of customers who own a pair of Rothy's, they own a pair of Toms, they are also Etsy shoppers, they also own pair of Allbirds, have bought shoes from Fuchsia. So we are conducting this survey and we know these people have bought, but what they are telling us is reason that they are buying from us is, so we have this community of buyers who are sustainable and, who are conscious consumers. They want to buy consciously. But what they're telling us is they're buying shoes because they cannot find this type of style anywhere else in the US. So the product that we are bringing to the US market itself is such new and unique. And I think our competitive edge from a product perspective is also the embroidery that we are introducing, right? Literally, I started from 100 shoe production and we just couldn't get right per month. Last year, we did 10,000 pair production. That was all of last year. We are currently at a capacity, just keeping the product intact. Our maximum capacity is 24,000 pairs a year right now. And in order to replicate that, we just need to deploy more artisan production facilities to continue to replicate that. So I think as far as the potential is concerned, I see this business as becoming $100 million businesses. We're not going to be the first shoe company who will do that. There have come others before us, and we definitely have that sticky product and a sticky story that will make that happen.
Cool. I mean, I'm looking at your products online at the moment, and I have to say they are really stunning products that I've not seen anything like this. And I typically, you would naturally expect guys don't typically look at women's shoes that often, but these are stunning. And just for the audience, really, when we talk about $100 million type of revenue for a tech company, we then quickly equate that into a unicorn type of company. That's usually the level of revenue you expect to be able to turn it into a unicorn valuation. The interesting thing here is that your margins are significantly higher as well, compared to some of the startups that we've talked to, where they're looking at getting huge volumes of revenue and then they're taking, let's say, 6% or 10% or 20%. Here the difference is significant, which kind of leads me into the barriers to entry for others, because you mentioned Pakistan is the 7th largest export market for shoes. But what's to stop somebody from, let's say, Vietnam, For example, looking at the designs and saying, we can make them, and we can make them faster, cheaper, and we can flood the market. How are you going to defend against that?
That's a great question. So here's the thing, right? Like, I think our power is in building that brand and, standing up for something and building that community of, the customers who are buying from us. Like, they believe in the mission of the brand, that they're just not buying a shoe, that it looks nice and pretty, but they are also helping somewhere else in the world.
Yeah.
So this scenario that you are describing, this is a problem with some of the very luxury brands in the world, right? Like, you go buy a Louis Vuitton bag, or you can buy a knockoff. So there's definitely a market for both the products. For us, we really think we really stand true to that story, and we will continue making shoes for the people who really believe in that mission. And this is why, like the capital that we are raising, we haven't really done a lot of investment in our marketing so far, because a lot of things in the beginning have been for us about product development, building a supply chain, a true supply chain that is made of people that are getting paid fairly, and then bringing that product. Now, this is just an opportunity for us that even though we are able to pay our labor, so a Fuchsia artisan takes home 3x more than what they would make in the local markets. And on top of that, we have been able to do that sustainably. So it doesn't mean that for 1 month they are going to be out of work, but for the next month, a lot of factories, local factories are doing that, by the way. So they only hire, they have a very elastic workforce where they, if they don't have a project or they don't have a contract, then they are not going to pay their workers. We have been paying our workers consistently, which is helping them break a cycle of poverty that they have been stuck for generations. And I'm talking about 3rd, 4th generation craftspeople that have this very indigenous skill that they haven't been able to use. Like, they have been using it, but they have not been able to earn sustainable incomes. And, like, we have an example of Tom's shoes also. So for us, it's just like building that brand and that community of people, getting really strong in content production, that yes, and then sending that product as a genuine product that, this people really believe in, that, okay, yes, it is helping some person in a developing country.
I mean, the whole sustainable development goals that you've mentioned are significant, and elevating an entire community of craftspeople with a sustainable income is really a great goal and target to have. Really impressed by that. And just when I was thinking about that question earlier on, when you look at companies like UGG, they've created a very clear brand. And there are copies out there, but people want to own an UGG. They don't want an alternative type of shoe, a knockoff type of brand, especially when you're going to be wearing them and you're not just carrying it around like a handbag. They're on your feet, and if they're not right, they're going to be painful, and you're going to really feel it too. So I think there are people who are very discerning both about the brand and about the quality of the footwear, because it really does impact on your quality of life if you don't have a good pair of shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think one thing I would really like to add to that is, for us, and this actually just started as an experimentation of offering custom sizes. So if you go one of our product pages, you will see we're offering both regular and wide fits. So the Fuchsia shoes that we make do not have a predefined left and a right foot. So somehow, like, our return rate, we have a return rate, like a lot of people buy the shoes and they love the shoes, but we just couldn't get the sizing right. So we started offering them custom shoes. So we literally asked them to draw their foot sketch on a paper and send it back to us. And it's like we are taking it on a 1-to-1 basis. It's a potentially a thing for us that we can look into scaling. at some point in future, which will again give us access to interesting market that people with complex feet can come to us and, get responsibly made, custom made shoes that is only uniquely made for them.
Oh, that's great. I mean, and that kind of reminds me of one of the unique differentiators of Clark's. I don't know if you're familiar with them as a brand.
Yes.
I don't know if you get them in the US. But yeah, you could have like width fittings for your shoes, and people would pay extra to go with those, especially for kids' shoes. It's a unique differentiator for them. You've got the platform up and running. People are buying direct from your website. Is this going to be your main route to market, or are you looking to enter into a distribution model like the traditional resellers?
If you asked me this question 6 months ago, I was very inclined towards just growing D2C, but so much has changed in the last 6 months in just selling the product directly, whether it has to do with, like iOS updates with Facebook or anything else. Like, every month is just a new month in the D2C category. So in the last 6 months, we really were focused on making each and every sale, but doing it like very profitably. So we really put our heads together, and my entire team leaned in, from production to marketing to design team, and how do we make our first sale economically without losing money? And every month is a new month, but the time that we are living in right now is like there's so much is changing right now. So we just decided that, we are going to start a retail strategy. We are going to start building that now, rather than waiting for it in, just growing our D2C channel, and, so we don't want to have all our eggs in one basket, basically.
All right.
So It's something that we are looking into developing. Like every month, I have 2-3 inquiries from like random boutique owners in Australia, UK, that we want to carry a set of shoes. And these are not like huge buyers, but they are like small shop owners. Either they have like a gift shop or a shoe store, and they're emailing us asking us to send us their wholesale pricing. So we are working on building that now.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, I think on the point that you made about scale, when I originally saw your pitch deck, I thought, how is this going to scale? That's usually the first question investors look at, is your ability to scale and grow to get to that 100 million revenue target. And typically you can work on a website, and you can work on multiple different websites as well, trying to sell it through the likes of Amazon to kind of just solve the basic problem of reaching market. But then with shoes, the problem that you have is people want to actually touch, feel, and try them out before they make that purchase. So then you end up with a dilemma. Do you ditch this and have a retail presence and allow people to do that? And then that means entering into wholesale and entering into a distribution agreement with the distributors to get your product to market that way, which then increases your cost as well, or reduces your margin. But so far, with the types of margins that you've got, it does make sense that you could afford to eat into that to actually dominate the market and create your brand presence way above that. Which kind of leads me on to the next question. In terms of your current customer acquisition cost and lifetime value for these, you've already hinted that the lifetime value is that people are making repeat purchases, and so you're not losing customers. You're actually getting them to come back and do repeat purchases. So do you have a view as to what your acquisition cost is at the moment, and what your lifetime value is, and what that would look like moving forward?
The customer acquisition cost in the last 3 months is $22, and that's blended across Facebook and Instagram and Google. So those are our like 3 paid channels right now. And again, that's last 90 days. That's across 3 channels. Another channel that is working really well for us is email and SMS. We have like 56,000 subscribers. And active subscribers on our email. Doesn't mean we hit all 56,000 all at once, but we are doing like very target email campaigns and segmentations. We want to just provide them, data that is useful, or messaging or stories that make sense to them. So we have these channels, and then we have this affiliate channel that is basically like a Instagram influencer with 10,000, 20,000, or macro influencers. You call them macro influencers with 10, 20, 50,000 followers, that we will send a free pair of shoes. They love the shoes, first of all, and they want to talk about sustainability. So they will tag us, they will create beautiful content of shoe styling, and they will send us. So going back is that's what our customer acquisition cost is. Our average order value, AOV, is $126 right now. So which tells us, or which suggests us that there are a lot of customers who are buying 2 pairs in the first rather than just 1 pair. So that's pretty healthy, and we think it's like we can continue increasing that as we offer more higher priced shoes. Like our competitors are still on the higher pricing point space. So from that perspective, like we have a very competitive pricing point.
I'm just looking at the shoes now and looking at the designs that you've got. There is no way that somebody can pick one. You're going to want to pick multiple designs just because of the way they are. So yeah, I would completely agree. When just looking at what you've got on the website, I would people to be buying multiple.
Usually it's like, some customer will come, they'll select a plain black shoe, which, it's such a basic, but then with that, they're going to add like an embroidered shoe just to see, and to be honest with you, like the plain black shoe is just, it is one of our top 3 sellers. But like what people tell us, what they love about the shoe is the unique, beautiful embroideries on it, which is all individually made. But we are scaling in other ways as well. I mean, we know we can't scale handmade embroidery, so we are doing like handloom fabric. So we are trying out like different new collections that we can produce faster and scale better and, with better quality. So we're certainly doing that, and we want to continue doing it faster.
Yeah, speaking of the embroidery, I feel like there's so much scope for limited edition shoes as well. Like limited edition collections, and I think that could really get all of your customers who buy like 16, 17 shoes when there's a limited edition one. Probably they want to jump onto that as well and make sure that they have those 100 or 200 pairs that you might create just for those limited edition. I was looking at another footwear brand called Atoms. Atoms does, I think, sustainable sneakers, and they have a limited edition shoe where they were selling it for $160. Now it's selling on eBay, like their fans are reselling onto eBay for $600. And there's still a really good demand for those limited edition shoes. I was just wondering, in terms of the fundraising, right? So you're raising $1 million. You've already gotten, was it $450,000 committed?
So $450K is already in the bank.
Right. And for an angel investor who wants to be part of Fuchsia's journey, what is the minimum investment? What's the minimum ticket that you're looking at?
Minimum check size is $50K right now.
And in terms of the investor, is there any strategic investor that you're looking at, or do you want the angel investor to be able to bring a certain skill set?
Why not? I mean, that would be the best case scenario for us if we get an investor that can be a strategic partner, especially like in retail, now that we are working on building our retail channel and we are very serious about it. I think areas that, we would really need help from strategic is like, retail strategy or marketing, growth hacking. Those are like 2 really important things for us in the next 6 months. So if we get an investor who has some experience in these domains, it will be a best case scenario.
Got it. And in terms of exit, like earlier when I was sharing some of the other brands, I mean, they have listed within just a short time, And some have actually gotten, I think, Rothy's got a sizable stake acquired by another shoe brand which made them $1 billion. So the question is, where do you see yourself bringing this? Are you looking at an acquisition? Are you looking to hopefully list it?
As far as an exit is concerned, right? Like, I think for me, I am really looking into like building that hyper growth in the business, right? And marketing is like one place that we are really lacking behind. So that's something that, as far as our supply chain is ready, we have that. We are not utilizing our maximum capacity. So we just need to start scaling our marketing in a very cost-effective way. So for next 2 years, it's like I want to get to that hyper trajectory path and, like really focus on the next 3-4 years when, get to $100 million business, become that $100 million company. We have the right market, the right product, and the right set of customers for that. So the execution is going to be the key. When we get there, I think we have really promising future. It could be an acquisition. If you look at different companies or, like in our domain, if you look at other shoe categories, Toms is a very good example. Got an acquisition for $600 million and this is 2012. They got acquired. Rothy's, you mentioned, the current valuation is $2 billion, started in 2013 or 14. And just last year, they sold half of the company to a Brazilian shoe giant, where the founders retained 50% of the company. The next example is Allbirds that you brought up. They went IPO. This is last year. So we have like all sorts of like really promising, like these companies have already shown what a potential this market and this type of a company can have if the execution is done correctly. So.
Yeah, and I think at least in my radar, in our space, I mean, we just keep looking at these tech startups and we keep seeing those numbers. But to see such success in sustainable shoes, I think is very encouraging, and it's opening up a whole new world of investment and other opportunities for me at least.
Yeah, I mean, from an impact perspective, it's refreshing, right? Because we typically talk about wanting to make an impact as well from an investment that elevates everybody within the supply chain up. So that's one of the reasons why I was talking to Easy Fresh and Mustafa from Pakistan, because his specific goal was bringing farmers up the value chain in terms of elevating the amount of money they get for the work that they produce by eliminating the inefficiencies in the supply chain. And this is great here. What we're seeing specifically is you're bringing the artisans that are working in Pakistan and giving them a sustainable method of creating these shoes and creating a sustainable income, which is substantially different to just, we'll give them more per shoe. You're actually giving them a regular income so that their families can actually plan and budget correctly for the entire year and actually take their kids to school when they know that they have a sustainable job that's going to pay them regularly on every week or every month, which is just as important as giving them more money in their pocket. Is just giving them a regular income, which is substantial and substantially different to just doing an increased share of wallet, which is typically what some people want to look at.
One of the questions that I really asked early on is if I've never been to Italy, but I've bought Italian handmade shoes and in the US, and everywhere you go, like those Italian handmade shoes starts from $500 at least. I mean, that's how much people are willing to pay over here. But if it's a shoe, the same level of craftsmanship will go in a shoe that is made in Pakistan or India. It's just not like, it is not viewed in the same way. So I thought this was like a really big gap that needed to be addressed. And we are the first company, I'm proud to say, we are the first company in Pakistan who is doing that on the ground with the artisans. So our retained rate for artisans is 97%. So this is how many people who have joined us, they have not left.
Yeah.
So
that speaks for itself, really. The impression that people have of the footwear and garment industry is sweatshop. And it has such negative connotations. But if you're saying that 97% of the people that come on board working for you are not moving, that tells you something about what you're doing. That's great.
I was going to say that one of the things that I think we've not heard was how Afshan has put in a lot of effort in terms of elevating the comfort level of these shoes, and it's taken so many iterations to get Fuchsia to where it is. Maybe Afshan, you could share a little bit about the effort
I'm glad you brought that up. We went through 22 different iterations of the shoes since 2016, and we will continue doing that. It has been quite a process. And so back in the day when we were starting the production, and this is during the Kickstarter time, when we were doing our first batch processing, we did some focus groups thanks to my network at Microsoft. We did some focus groups, and the most common feedback we heard from these women, the potential customers, were the shoes need a lot of footbed and arch support and that type of stuff. So all we heard was the only reason we wear flat shoes is because they have to be comfortable. Otherwise, we can just wear heels or some really good looking shoes. So we realized that very early on that we have to make the shoes comfortable. So Osman, you mentioned about Clark's. So we ended up also dissecting one of Clark's shoes, and they used this midsole called Eva sole in the mid. So today that's what we are using in the Fuchsia flats. Our midsole is made of a memory foam. It's called Eva sole. So we get these big sheets, and we create our middle soft liner, which is a 3 sole that gets in the middle. So we covered the leather. The Fuchsia shoes, they were notorious to pinch your feet. So the concept is, at least this I found from a lot of South Asian women, was because the shoes don't have a left and a right, and they are just made in specific sizes. So first you have to break the shoe, right? So you wear them a couple of times, and eventually they're going to be super uncomfortable in the beginning. But then they're after 2 days, they will break, and they'll be the most comfortable thing. We learned that from our customers that this is not an option. They want a shoe that have the out of the box comfort. So that's when we took the whole shoe apart, and the credit goes to my co-founder, who spent 3 months on the ground with the artisan, shoulder to shoulder, and created. He's a distributed engineer, by the way. And so he took his engineering mind in creating that product, and I was backing up with him with all the data that I could possibly provide based on focus groups. And we went through, just in those 3 months, we went through a dozen iterations. And after that, we have been continuously working on improving different parts of the shoes and trying different textures and fabrics to make it more and more comfortable. So yeah, that is what has been our story. And that's why if you see a lot of our reviews, our customers will tell you how the shoes are comfortable also, while they were not expecting them to be comfortable, but then they were pleasantly surprised.
I mean, I think both Razi and I have had those experiences with Pakistani shoes as well. We both bought a pair of Imran Khan sandals, and they absolutely gouged our feet while we were wearing them the first time round. Yeah,
I think you're talking about the Peshawris.
Yeah,
the Peshawris, right. We bought them in Lahore, and the guy was like, "You to wear this, you're gonna be suffering. It's gonna cut your feet, but it's gonna be worth it. You'll break it in, and you'll be fantastic." And this is exactly what happened. So broke it in, and now I just took it out for a spin yesterday. I wore it, and it was very comfortable. But I had to go through that phase of pain
Yeah.
And it seems that for the Fuchsia shoes that Fuchsia has, there's no that painful phase has now been taken out of the entire experience.
Yeah. Speaking of Peshawari's, by the way, it is in our pipeline. So, but it's like number one thing for us is we have to make the shoe comfortable first. So we're still doing R&D on it, but 2023 is looking promising. So.
Speaking of Peshawari, right? Each time I've brought the shoes, I've worn them. People have asked me, "Hey, where do you get those? Can you get that for me the next time you go to wherever you got them from?"
Yes.
Yeah.
And are they mostly like? Do you get like males? People asking that, or? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you will get that at Fuchsia because the Peshawari shoe we are looking at is unisex. So it's, hopefully it will be both for, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan of those kind of shoes, especially when they have a story. I think when you wear something like this, it is a conversation starter, it gives something for people to look at, and you talk about the artisan stories, like, how long they've been with Fuchsia, the impact that the business has had on them and on their families. If there's a video, if there's something I read about these artisans, I think it just make that affinity or that support for the brand so much stronger.
For us, like, we are very data oriented, right? We are always curious to learn why every new sale we get, we ask that person, why did you buy from us? Like, what was your motivation? So number one thing we hear is, well, we love the product. It's so unique. That's number one thing people are telling us. The second thing we hear is, well, I saw my friend. So we are certainly creating a lot of organic engagement through that. So the point that you brought, like, once you wear the shoe, people come and ask, oh, where they're so different, where did you get them? So we're certainly getting that. And we're seeing, like, one of our very profitable campaign is our organic Google searches. So, like, there are so many people who are searching Fuchsia Shoes on Google. They are like all organic, direct traffic. And we don't get to hear from almost all of them, but, few of them tell us, yes, I saw my friend, I saw my teacher wearing it. And we have this pair, it's like a pink pair flat we call it Charlotte, and a lot of people think it's a princess shoe. So that shoe apparently was like so many people came just because they saw another customer wearing that shoe, and there are literally searches going on our website, the princess shoe. So we had to add it in our description for SEO optimization that it is like a princess cut or something. So we're certainly getting that. But I think the story and the sustainability is, you have to keep this in mind. This is also a very saturated market. And I think the story is really helping us in, when the person is on the fence, is they are going to buy a footwear, or maybe they have options from 5 other brands. But the reason they are going to come to Fuchsia is they really like the mission and they feel good about their purchase. So it's definitely, it comes back to that, my point on emphasizing on building that brand and leading with that story that, we stand for something and we are going to continue building on that story that, means a lot to our customers.
At least for me, we don't realize or we are not aware of the size of this particular market and how there has been quite a lot of success that other brands have achieved within quite a relatively short period of time, I would say. Like within 8 years, 6 years, the kind of success they are seeing just shows us how the market is responding to sustainable shoes, how there's such a big demand for sustainable and also handcrafted kind of shoes. The consumer just wants that, and to see so many brands within just the US that are doing so, that are thriving, I think was quite an interesting thing.
Yeah, no, totally. And I have to say that this trend in the US is like 5 years old. What I'm seeing now is like I'm seeing a lot of European countries also becoming very aware about this issue, about the labor issue, and just like fast fashion in general. So it's pretty like, we have some really healthy indicators from the industry. By the way, we have a lot of customers from our Kickstarter that are based out of UK. So we have a lot of people that are shopping in UK. Right now, like all of our paid marketing is just US, but we can also have we have markets like Australia, UK, Singapore, and Hong Kong, completely untapped for us. So those are big markets that proved as part of like a Kickstarter campaign. It's a very traditional looking shoe, but it has this like silver beading on it. So when you look at it, it's like all sparkly, and it just has. And Usman, like that, to your point about the wholesale, that's another thing. Is one of the common things we hear about from our customers is the shoes actually just look so much better in person than what they initially thought when they were placing an order. Very common. So yeah, I think retail for us can be very big and promising, especially, when you are putting the shoe out there, people can come and try it out, test out their size, and then feel like, oh, this is actually comfortable and not just, a good pair of flat.
Your website's amazing because it does show the intricate detail of the product. But yeah, when you're looking at it online, you just think, okay, what's the catch here? They look amazing. They can't be that comfortable. And the only way you could work that one out is if you actually try them. And so you're kind of expecting there to be a downside here, that, okay, they look too good to be true. There's got to be a trade-off here. But even just looking at them and the way you've taken these pictures, they actually do look comfortable. But yeah, when you're ordering them online, you're kind of expecting that, okay, they may not be as good as what I'm seeing here at the moment, and they may not be as comfortable. Whereas I think if you did have a retail presence, I think these things would just fly off the shelf because the pricing's pretty rock solid in terms of a price point and the demographics that you're typically targeting for, and the way they stand out as being very unique. They're just not your regular black shoe, which is, you'll buy one and that's it. You're one and you're done. But here you'll buy one, you think, actually, no, I prefer that design too, and that one would look good with that suit. And then you end up buying like 3 or 4 of them because they're just so unique and they give you a huge wardrobe option. I sound like I've got loads of shoes, which I have actually. So, yeah.
How many do you have? We have 27. Like what Afshan was saying, in the US, women have 27 shoes on average.
Yeah, this is embarrassing to admit, but yeah, I've got quite a lot of shoes, and they are swapped around depending on what I'm wearing. But again, this isn't vanity. It's more to do with the fact that, especially for guys, I've noticed that women tend to look at your shoes and they'll judge you on the shoes that you're wearing, right? So you might be wearing a really nice suit.
You can get judged.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was thinking. You can wear a really nice suit and it'll be like, a nice color, everything's looking good, and then your belts and your shoes don't match, right? Or you're wearing brown shoes with the wrong type of suit, or you're wearing black belt with brown shoes, and people notice, right? Yeah. So then so unfortunately, I've ended up with loads of shoes, and you have to decide, well, I've got my brown belt on today, I need brown shoes, and so you end up with 10, 11 pairs of shoes, and they're all different. The problem that you have here in Singapore, if you leave them for too long and without wearing them, when you go wear them again, the glue on the soles fall apart really quickly here in Singapore. So yeah, there's been a few wardrobe malfunctions here where I've taken a shoe that I haven't worn for a few months, and while I'm walking around, the sole falls off.
Is that because it's humid over there?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's like one reason I would think the glues are coming apart.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to wear them regularly, and it's quite common. I think Razi experienced this when I was in Pakistan. I pulled out a pair of black shoes which I hadn't worn in ages, took them to Pakistan, and within hours they were literally falling apart. And they weren't that they were bad shoes; they were just hadn't been worn for a while, and they'd been sat in a wardrobe with the humidity, and the thing just fell apart on the first wear.
And you always see this when you go for reservists. So, in Singapore, when we go for our annual reservists, we have our army shoes. They've been away in storage for like a year. And when you take them out, a lot of guys, you see the shoe is just, the glue is coming off, or just the bottom becomes very brittle. It just like crumbles away after a while. And then it's a lot of replacement of shoes. But then the next day you come back and the same thing happens. Which is why they say you need to store it in a place where there isn't going to be humidity, or store it in some sort of a case to ensure that it lasts. Yeah. Thank you, Afshan, for sharing about Fuchsia Shoes, the impact that you're making in Pakistan, and how you're bringing these comfortable flats to the US and to the rest of the world. And we're really looking forward to see you scale this and to realize the vision that you have. And for everyone who was watching, I think we have learned about the sustainable shoe market and how there are quite a number of brands who are creating sustainable shoes that are customized, and they are actually making a really big impact, both financially and also on the planet. So thank you for watching the episode, and we hope that if you enjoyed it, please do like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.